ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
Many San Diegans spent hours waiting in line today hoping for the new Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. The single shot is expected to make distribution a little easier. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Our ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco explains why some showed up to Balboa Park without an appointment.
Addie Burnett spent all day Tuesday camped out in front of the Balboa Park Municipal Gym. She had plenty of company. Dozens of people showed up with umbrellas, hoping to get any leftover vaccines.
I think the Johnson & Johnson is the ticket.
At the age of 80, Burnett has been eligible for weeks, but says she hasn't been able to get an appointment.
It shouldn't be near as hard as it is. And, there's a lot of seniors out there just like me that I don't have a computer.
Even though research trials show the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is about 70% effective compared to Moderna and Pfizer at around 95%, Burnett says the convenience is worth it.
I just have a good feeling about it. And it's one shot only. Why would you want to go in for two when you can get one?
That's one of the reasons the county set aside 1,000 doses of the J&J vaccine for the homeless. The goal is to get them vaccinated before they're moved out of the convention center at the end of the month.
We want to prioritize that vaccine for those hardest to reach, the most underserved, those with whom 2 doses could provide a challenge.
Burnett says if she doesn't get a shot today, she'll be back on Wednesday.
And I hope it's pouring down rain and nobody else comes.
The county says so far it has received just over 14,000 doses of the J&J vaccine. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
As of this afternoon, appointments at the Balboa Park site, they were booked for the week, but the county encourages people to keep checking. And more vaccine shortfalls are forcing the Del Mar Fairgrounds Superstation to close again. The site will be closed Friday through Sunday. The station is scheduled to reopen on Monday. Affected patients are being rescheduled automatically through the MyTurn online system appointment.
San Diego County will remain in the most restrictive purple tier for now. The county currently has an adjusted case rate of 8.8 new daily COVID cases per 100,000 people. To be promoted to the red tier, that number needs to be fewer than 7 and be maintained for 2 weeks. Moving into the red tier will allow limited allowance of indoor dining, gyms, and movie theaters. Here are the latest numbers on coronavirus in San Diego County. 473 new cases reported today, bringing the total to 263,748. And there were 15 new deaths, bringing that total now to more than 3,400.
A local company that has been creating antibody treatments is stepping up their research and targeting different coronavirus variants. Our ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti shows us how they say this antibody treatment should fight every strain of the virus known right now.
San Diego-based company Sorrento Therapeutics is partnering with Mount Sinai to develop an antibody treatment that will be able to fight any known coronavirus variant. Sorrento already has treatments in clinical trials which can be given in 2 different ways, through an IV that takes 2 to 3 minutes, or a nasal spray, something a doctor could prescribe if you test positive.
And you go to a CVS, picked it up, and you're putting a few drops in your nose, and you're preventing the virus from replicating, gets infected into the lung, and preventing you from spreading the virus.
This should be more accessible and cheaper than current treatment methods.
Maybe a few $100. Instead of you're talking about, you have a Trump in the hospital, you're talking about $20,000.
And they say it's more powerful than current antibody treatments, meaning they can make more doses to create more access.
For the average person, it gives them hope that getting a diagnosis of COVID, if they haven't been vaccinated and the vaccine did take, they now have additional options to prevent anything serious happening.
But their main selling point, this should not only treat people who are positive, but also protect against every strain of the virus known right now, which they say no vaccine can currently do, and will be crucial moving forward for any future strains that grow.
It's definitely not a one and done vaccine, and this virus is mutating, keep on mutating, escaping all of the immunity established. So going to be multi-years, and that's why the whole world scientists is working on this to solve the problem.
Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
Trials are moving forward to test both the IV and the nasal droplets on willing and healthy volunteers. Their goal is to have final approval by the end of this year.
The former La Mesa police officer at the center of a controversial arrest caught on video last year appeared virtually in court today. He pleaded not guilty on a charge of falsifying his police report. ABC 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty talked with local civil rights leaders who say the officer should have been charged with more crimes.
Matthew Dages stood out of camera range in virtual court, his lawyer arguing he never falsified a police report. This cell phone video that went viral, a key part of the trial. It shows Dages arresting Amari Johnson near a Grossmont trolley station after he accused him of smoking in a prohibited area. You can see the former officer pushing Johnson and arresting him for assaulting an officer. La Mesa police dropped all charges and the officer was fired. Now, civil rights leaders and Johnson's lawyer converged Tuesday, saying the officer should have been slapped with stronger charges.
He still feels like Officer Dages is being charged with the cover-up, but is not being charged with the underlying crimes that he committed. The battery charges, the kidnapping, the, color of authority.
The video sparked both peaceful demonstrations and violent protests in May. Later, looters burned buildings and robbed stores. It came on the heels of the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Civil rights leader Tasha Williamson says all of the former officers' arrests should now be re-examined.
And all of his cases should be reviewed. Every last one of his cases should be reviewed. Because in the eyes of the community, he is an officer that had biases and alleged racism towards people who look like me.
Johnson filed a federal lawsuit against the city and Dages, alleging excessive force and negligence based on his race. Today, the judge ordered the former officer to have no contact with Johnson. Vanessa Van Hefty, ABC 10 News.
Dages' lawyer says the former officer looks forward to clearing his name. He faces up to 3 years in prison if convicted.
A powerful winter storm is expected to move into San Diego County overnight, bringing rain, wind, and snow. As you can see, our meteorologist, Angelica Campos, is tracking that system tonight. Angelica.
Hi, Steve, that's right. A significant winter system is hitting our way and is already approaching, as you can see here on our satellite and radar. Most of the rain happens to be farther north, but what we call prefrontal rain is already developing in the LA region and is going to be moving south as we go into the 9-10 o'clock hour tonight. The chances will be much better for tomorrow as a main cold front moves in, basically the first push of heavy rain and isolated thunderstorms. But for our mountains, it is going to be changing from rain to snow. It'll start tonight with snow levels at about 4,000 feet early tomorrow morning. This will be a slow moving system, so we could potentially have precipitation in the county all the way through a Friday. In our 7-day forecast, I'll show you the timing and also the rain totals and snow totals we are expecting.
Angelica, thank you. In the meantime, crews are busy making sure parts of the county are prepared for this storm. So flood control crews, they were out earlier today in Lakeside cleaning out trash and debris from inside this tunnel. Culverts like these help prevent flooding on roads. Crews will also be providing sandbags for anyone who needs them.
The pandemic was Governor Newsom's major focus in his third State of the State address tonight. He talked about his accomplishments over the past year and acknowledged that he has made mistakes. The governor also talked about infrastructure, promising $10 billion for road repairs and public transportation. The governor is facing a recall effort right now, and recall supporters say they've gathered more than enough signatures to put one before voters later this year. Today, the military identified the Marine killed in a crash over the weekend on Camp Pendleton. 19-year-old Lance Corporal Tomiwa Adewale died Sunday in a 3-car crash on Las Pulgas Road. 2 other Marines were hurt in that crash, but we don't know how severely at this point. The military says the crash involved their private vehicles. As part of our commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion in our community, ABC 10 News is bringing you an eye-opening special on the hidden bias of good people. We'll look at the unconscious attitudes and stereotypes that we make and how we can change for the better. It airs in less than an hour at 8 o'clock, followed by a live roundtable at 9 o'clock on our ABC 10 News Facebook page, where you can join the conversation and ask your questions.